I'm Avril Lavigne, the VMA rookie. In a bit, this is gonna be going out to the world. So really, I'm talking to a whole bunch of people. And that's trippy. That being nominated, oh my God, I'm being nominated. That's so cool. Like, now the rest of my life, I can say I got nominated for something, you know? This might be the only time this ever happened. Celebrity. Do I know how to be a celebrity? I don't know if I know how to be a celebrity. I know how to act like myself, and that's what I'm doing. That's all I'm worrying about.
Hello, bitches. Welcome to the deep dive on Avril Lavigne. A quick couple disclaimers to get out of the way. If you're one of those stans who think Avril is perfect and anyone talking shit about her or her music, even if they're also a fan, if that's gonna make you mad, this video is probably not for you. I'll also be stating some personal opinions as a fan since literally 2002, so if that pisses you off, I don't care, to be honest. When I bring up Avril being a high school dropout, it's for a reason. It's a relevant part of her story, especially when you start looking at quotes she said as a cringy teenager, or looking back at lyrics that are just not that great. This deep dive taught me that we should not have made teenagers famous, and she is honestly one of the best examples of this. Like, if she never got lucky and became a pop-punk icon, who knows what she would be doing in Napanee, Ontario right now. Or, on the opposite side of that, what if her only successful album was Let Go? What if she was like a one-hit wonder, except it was one album that did really good and then everybody just got over her? Something interesting to think about. My third disclaimer. This is the one that I think is going to piss off the most people. Avril Lavigne is a product. We will never truly know how much of her image was really her, or if it was just her label trying to market her a certain way, but acknowledging this is the key to enjoying this deep dive. Again, she's my fave, has been my fave since 2002, I literally have the Let Go star tattooed on me. Okay, now on to the deep dive, with all of that out of the way. Avril Ramona Lavigne was born on September 27th, 1984 in Bellevue, Ontario. She has an older brother named Matthew and a younger sister named Michelle. Avril Lavigne is my favorite middle child representation. When she was 2 years old, her mom heard her singing Jesus Loves Me and realized that Avril could actually sing. When she was 5, the family moved to Napanee, Ontario. She got her start performing at county fairs when she was around 14 years old, mostly covering country songs. It was around this time that she also started writing her own songs. It's important to note here that this is probably one of the reasons why some people called her a poser back in the day and questioned her skater persona. I don't agree, because we all have to start somewhere, and if she liked country music, she liked country music, you know? But I could see the people in Napanee being like, wait, that girl from the county fair is at the VMAs, and she has a bunch of eyeliner, and now she's just like, why'd you have to go and make things so complicated? Like, yeah, the hometown people would have been confused, I assume. As a kid, she was also super into sports. She played on a boys' hockey team, and there is video evidence of her getting into a physical fight with a boy on another team. I wonder if this dude knows that this footage is on YouTube. In 1999, she won a radio contest to perform with Shania Twain in Ottawa. She got hometown famous for this performance, so a Christian musician named Stephen Med invited her to contribute vocals for his album, Touch the Sky. In December 1999, Avril was officially discovered by her first professional manager while singing country covers at a bookstore called Chapters. Again with the country music. Avril has stated in interviews more recently that she does like country music, so it's not surprising she started singing that type of music. Lore like this only makes people feel confused if you're someone who, quote-unquote, bought into the idea that Avril was always a skater girl. I mean, she was, but it was probably like 50-50 when it came to her image and what was real and what she was told to say or how to act. This next part gets kind of confusing because there's a lot of record label people mentioned, so I'm going to try my best to give you a Sparks Notes version. But basically, she briefly ended up in New York working on music she didn't really like. In 10th grade, she dropped out of high school. This is semi-important a little later.
I don't know whether you graduated from high school, but...
No, I didn't.
It's okay. That's all right.
She's doing a lot of writing.
Yes.
No, I left high school in grade 11, and no, I feel like a lot of people ask me, you know, do you feel like you missed out on anything because I started out so young? And I don't, because I had a normal childhood growing up, and you know, went to high school, and I'm actually glad, you know, that I did all that.
You can go back.
Yeah, you
go back to school.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
So yeah, at this point, she's a high school dropout who doesn't even have a record deal yet. She is so lucky that all of this panned out. Because there are many things about her life She got so lucky. Again, whether it was marketing, whether it was her just busting her ass, we're never gonna know. But Jesus Christ, there will never be another Avril Lavigne. The co-founder of a Canadian management firm got a tape of Avril singing on a VHS tape. It impressed him, so he called a producer in New York. Then she flew to New York to take that meeting and did end up writing a song called Why. In November, someone else invited L.A. Reid, the then president of Arista Records, to hear Avril sing. After 15 minutes, she was signed to Arista Records and given a record deal worth $1.25 million for 2 albums. Her band were mainly Canadians, except her guitarist Evan, who basically just fit the pop-punk image that the label wanted to create. She dated one of her band members named Jesse. I think they dated for like a year. It wasn't anything serious. Since I'm mentioning her personal life in this deep dive, I guess I have to mention her first boyfriend, Jesse Colburn. So then time passed and Avril started working with different writers. None of the songs felt like things she could relate to. Nothing was sticking. Because she dropped out of high school to focus on music, she even started to wonder if she needed a backup plan. In 2001, she went to Los Angeles to meet with a songwriting duo called The Matrix, who would change her life and music forever. One of the songs created with them was Complicated, the first single off of her debut album, Let Go. Let Go was released on June 4th, 2002, and had 5 singles. Complicated, Skater Boy, I'm With You, Losing Grip, and Mobile. All of the singles were super successful except one. Mobile was a flop, and we can all admit it. In my opinion, it's easily the most boring song on that album, and My World should have been the final single. The album sold over 16 million copies worldwide, making it her highest-selling album to date and the best-selling album of the 21st century by a Canadian artist. Let Go is regarded as a defining album in early 2000s pop and pop rock music. Now I fear we would call that pop punk, offering an alternative to the dominant teen pop sound of the time period. In my opinion, Avril is on the Mount Rushmore of pop punk based solely on this album. Let me take a short break to try and elaborate on why Avril Lavigne meant so much to the girlies, in 2002. Because there had been bands that had a girl and a bunch of guys. Like, that had been done before. Most famously, I guess No Doubt would be an example. But there was just something about Avril, like, again, personality, her, like, angsty vibes, that, again, could have been marketing, but at the time we didn't know, because, we just didn't know. We have to remember that in 2002, the world was still, like, Britney Spears was popular, Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. One of those boy bands broke up, I'm sure, in 2001. But the point is, the world was mainly pop music. And when Avril Lavigne literally burst on this music scene, when we saw her in that music video for Skater Boy, the one when she's literally on the car with holding a guitar and then smashing the car with the guitar, we had never seen anything like that. The commercial success of the album demonstrated a strong demand for her sound, but also prompted discussions about genre classification, with critics debating whether Let Go qualified as punk, pop punk, or a mainstream rock record. However, Avril has stated that she never described herself as punk.
I never once ever called myself punk to anybody. Maybe I have an attitude and I have a lot more edge to myself than a lot of other artists out there do. And media sees that and takes that and calls it punk. Because what punk is punk is a little delinquent. Punk is so much that, right now, at this moment, I'm not going to get into, but maybe I have some punk characteristics about me. Did I say that properly?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I have some punk characteristics about me, but I don't walk around calling myself punk. It's more punk to tell people you're not punk than to sit there and say that you are punk. And whatever. If you want to know what I think that I am, I think that I'm just a rock chick. And I like to rock out. I like to throw shit around. I like to go nuts. I like to lose myself on stage. I like to scream. I like to holler. I like to break things. I like to yell.
There is a now viral clip of her denying this. Denying that she ever said she was punk. It's funny because her teen angsty days are immortalized forever in clips like this, but yes, she was serious. She was also 17. Rolling Stone ranked Let Go the 225th best album of the 21st century, and the Toronto Star named it one of the most important Canadian albums of the 2000s. The Toronto Star was so real for that, because I definitely agree. Girls copied her outfits, with Avril later stating it was kinda weird, but also kinda cool. Again, Avril Lavigne was a product. Girls were dressing like her, doing the tie thing. The whole aesthetic was carefully chosen because it was the 2000s, and the labels wanted to come up with something that was the complete opposite of Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. Now, what I will say about this, in my opinion, I think that the whole Avril versus Britney got blown out of proportion. There's literally, I think it's a cover of Rolling Stone where it says, Avril Lavigne, the Britney Slayer. That's insane. The 2000s were truly a wild time. Especially knowing that years later, Avril would do an interview where she was like, I actually do like Britney Spears. And I fear that that was the moment where I was like, wait, so there's people telling her what to say then. Still, the way that the media portrayed Avril as like this pop star, but she makes like pop punk music, was interesting. Because at the time, pop punk existed, but it was mainly like a boys' genre. There were bands like Sum 41, Blink-182. So when Avril came onto the scene and was doing that, it was different. Because now the girlies could see her and be like, wait, I like that type of music. And then it would lead into like a little circle of like, if you like Avril Lavigne, you'll like Sum 41. You'll like this. You'll like this. And it was like, wow, Avril really did that. And that's why I say, once again, Avril Lavigne is on the Mount Rushmore of pop punk. She's marketing, she's a product, but it fucking worked for my generation because she's an icon. A little bit of drama happened in the Let Go era, with certain songwriters trying to say that Avril didn't actually write as much as she said she did on that album. Allegedly, they accused her of coming to sessions with an idea. For example, when she was working on Skater Boy, she did walk into the studio and say, I like boys who wear big chunky shoes and are skaters. But it's not like she sat down and wrote every single lyric to the song. For example, she probably didn't suggest the line Skater Boy rocking up MTV. She just said she liked skater boys and the songwriters were doing most of the work. However, in my opinion, she was the one who came up with the line, he was a boy, she was a girl, can I make it any more obvious? I don't know, it just sounds like her trying to be poetic at 17. Avril and one of the songwriters for Complicated, one half of The Matrix, Lauren Christie, are still friends to this day, so I guess they got over the drama. To support this album, she embarked on the Try to Shut Me Up tour from 2002 to 2003. A concert DVD was also released, and yes, I did watch it religiously as a child. It's interesting to note that in these early days, she went straight to her own headlining tour and didn't need to be the opening act for anyone. I feel like that's very rare and shows just how popular Avril was right away. Kicking off 2004, her second album, Under My Skin, was released on May 25th, 2004. The album title comes from Avril being 19 years old and saying, "This is what is inside me, what I think about, and what bugs me." She worked with Chantel Kraviatz and Ben Moody from Evanescence on this album. Canadians, you know Chantel for being Chantel. I hear she's popular in Canada. Americans, we know her as the girl who sings the song Charm Life from the Uptown Girls soundtrack. So this album is more about darker subjects like the death of Avril's grandpa and a friend she knew in high school who struggled with depression. Singles from Under My Skin were Don't Tell Me, My Happy Ending, and Nobody's Home. Again, in my opinion, Nobody's Home is a crazy choice for a single. It's a very beautiful song and it's very emotional, but imagine turning on the radio in 2004 and that song comes on. It's too much. I do not understand how they expected that song to work for radio. After the album was released, she did a mall tour where the malls she was going to be at were announced a day before. You really just had to get lucky with this. Later that year, she went on her first worldwide tour called the Bones Tour. As for the name of the tour, she once said, "I named it that because bones are under my skin." I'm not even being funny, that's literally something she said. Eventually, she kind of retracted that statement and cringed at it. And she was like, I thought it was funny at the time. In 2004, she started dating Derek from Sum 41. Cute. I love them together. This is where it gets kind of confusing. Again. In 2001, she wrote a song called Breakaway about living in Canada but still wanting to chase her dreams. In 2004, the song was reworked and given to Kelly Clarkson. Interesting to note, in this 2004 interview, Avril does change the story and says she didn't like the song in general, when in other versions of that story, she just always said that the song didn't fit on either of her albums at this point, so she gave it to Kelly. So, I mean, I guess we'll never know, but I will say that Avril's version of Breakaway is my favorite version. And if you want to listen to it, it is currently on the 20th anniversary edition of Let Go. A random, very unserious side quest also happened this year when she recorded her version of the theme song for SpongeBob. I still don't know what possessed her to do this. This was also the year that she got into drama with Hilary Duff. Oh, the 2000s. This is kind of a funny story. Because obviously back in the day there was no social media, so you would just see stuff in the tabloids. So there was a tabloid that said that Avril said that she didn't like her fans dressing like her. Then Hilary Duff got wind of this and then said that Avril needs to be grateful. Then Avril responded that Hilary was too much of a goody-goody and then threatened physical violence. I believe the specific form of physical violence was that if Hilary didn't shut her mouth, Avril was gonna shut it for her. Oh, the 2000s. Kicking off 2005, she and Derek Whibley got engaged, but she also won 3 Junos this year, one being for Artist of the Year. Because she had lost all the 5 Grammy nominations that she had gotten for Let Go in 2002, I'm very happy that she got the awards in Canada, where, dare I say, it matters most because she's Canadian. In 2006, Avril's acting career began. Well, sort of. First, she tried voice acting, playing an emo possum in Over the Hedge. She didn't take a real role until 2007 because she said she was going through scripts and trying to find the perfect project. We have very different definitions of the perfect project because her first real role came in 2007 when she had a very small role in an indie film called Fast Food Nation. I don't even think she remembers being in this. That's how small her part was. Avril and Derek got married on July 15, 2006. Their wedding song was Iris by Goo Goo Dolls, and I will never forget this fact. I think about it every time I hear that song. I also remember seeing pictures in the tabloids of the wedding favor that they gave away. It was a guitar pick that said Avril picked Derek, and then the other one would say Derek picked Avril. It was cute for the time. To round out 2006, she wrote Keep Holding On for the soundtrack to a movie called Aragon. Never saw that movie. Still have never seen it, but I am forever obsessed with this song. Her third album, The Best Damn Thing, was released on April 17, 2007. Her image for this album was a total difference from the Avril we first met in 2002. Her hair was bleach blonde, she had pink highlights, she was wearing skirts and dresses now. It was a whole different vibe. Singles from The Best Damn Thing were Girlfriend, When You're Gone, Hot, and The Best Damn Thing. Avril broke the third single being a flop curse this time because Hot was such a good song. I love that song. To support this album, she went on a tour called The Best Damn World Tour. A DVD of this concert was also released, very cleverly titled The Best Damn Tour Live in Toronto. Yes, I own this one too. I hate the name of this tour. Just imagine being like, oh, where are you going? Oh, I'm gonna go see Avril at the Best Damn Tour. Even if you say, I'm gonna go see Avril at the Best Damn World Tour. I don't like it. It's trying too hard. It's not even cute. It's just like, what are you saying? Then she did a random side quest again and recorded the chorus of Girlfriend in various languages for some reason. And it doesn't make sense because it's like, it's not even the whole song. It's literally the chorus and then it just goes back to English. It's like, why would you do this? The music video for Girlfriend was the first music video to ever reach 100 million views on YouTube. Iconic. In 2008, she launched her clothing line, Abby Dawn. The name Abby Dawn came from her childhood nickname, and also this year she released a fragrance called Black Star, which smelled very good, and I miss it. The packaging was very cute too. It was like pink and black, and it had like this ring. It was cute. In 2009, she filed for divorce from Derek Whibley. Literally nothing else happened for her in 2009. To kick off 2010, she recorded a single called Alice for the live-action Alice in Wonderland movie. She started dating Brody Jenner. Yes, that Brody. Brody from the Hills. Then she released a second fragrance called Forbidden Rose. Her fourth album, Goodbye Lullaby, was released on March 2nd, 2011. Singles from this album were What the Hell, Smile, and Wish You Were Here. This is an obligatory MySpace emo reminder that Lexus Amanda, yes, that Lexus Amanda was in the music video for Smile. Iconic, to be honest. All of these single choices were so good. Her third and final fragrance, Wild Rose, was released. She went on a tour called the Black Star Tour to promote this album. Again, Avril is not super great at coming up with names for tours. After she broke up with Brody, sometime in 2012, she started dating Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. She covered How You Remind Me by Nickelback at some point, and her cover of this song is the only version of that song that I acknowledge. In April 2013, Here's to Never Growing Up was released as a single. This song is so good, and the music video will forever be iconic. It is easily in my top 5 favorite Avril music videos ever. Her fifth album, Avril Lavigne, was released on November 1st, 2013. Critics were very divided about this album. Some liked it because it was true to Avril's rebellious vibe, but others found it immature and forced. Personally, I think it's a fun album. Avril and Chad got engaged after a month of dating. This was truly a time in her life. In 2014, she was the opening act for the Backstreet Boys tour. This marks the first time she has ever had to be an opening act. In 2015, she announced a new single called Fly, and this was also the same year we found out that she had Lyme disease. To end 2015 on a great note, she divorced Chad. Finally. Avril's sixth album, Head Above Water, was released on February 15, 2019. Singles from Head Above Water were Head Above Water, Tell Me It's Over, Dumb Blonde, and I Fell in Love with the Devil. This album was very personal to her, and she was doing interviews where she was crying about how she thought she was going to die because she literally was so sick with Lyme disease that she thought she was going to die. So she wrote the song Head Above Water, basically asking God to save her. So yeah, it was truly a dramatic time in Avril's life. Happy she's still with us, but this was truly a time. We start 2021 off with Avril releasing a collab called Flames with Mod Sun. Then she signed with Travis Barker's label DTA Records. Then she's featured on a song called Grow by Willow Smith. Her seventh album, Love Sucks, was released on February 25th, 2022. The album title is very ironic considering what would happen with her and Mod Sun. Who is Mod Sun, you ask? Some dude who makes music. His real name is Derek, which I think is hilarious because this is the second Derek that Avril has been involved with. So yeah, they start dating. I didn't like them together, but Flames was kind of a good song. Avril got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on August 31st. On June 13, 2022, the 20th anniversary edition of Let Go was released. It featured the normal track list plus songs that fans could only previously find in low quality on YouTube for years as bonus tracks. Personally, I was so excited to finally have Get Over It on streaming because prior to the official release, all we had were low quality lyric videos. Some cringy lyrics from the bonus tracks, aka the older songs, include My feet are bare, haven't washed my hair, Before you're old, you are young, One day I will live in a house, etc. The lyrics about living in a house especially piss me off because she's not even listing anything. It makes no sense. Essentially, I will go on the record and say that I am the #1 hater of Falling Down by Avril Lavigne, and I don't care who knows it. It's a soundtrack song, so it's not very important in her grand scheme of her entire discography, but it's not a song that I would show someone to prove that Avril Lavigne is an amazing lyricist. Honorable mention to another lyric that I hate, this time on Get Over It. And that was out of bounds, you filthy rotten hound, it's badder than it sounds. I like that song, but why did no one tell her that badder is not a word? They knew she dropped out of 10th grade. Help her. Thank you for listening to me rant for 1 whole minute about how some of Avril's lyrics are not good. Back to the deep dive. She got a full circle moment when she got to perform with Shania Twain again at the ACM's Poets Awards. Although technically she got to reunite with Shania in 2003 when Shania introduced Avril at the Junos in Canada. Kicking off 2024, in September, Avril and All Time Low released a single called Fake as Hell, and she showed up to perform the song with the band a few times at festivals. In November, she released another collab, this time with Youngblood. It was called I'm a Mess, and it was such a good song. Fun fact, I don't like the cover art, but I love that song. Her Greatest Hits album was released on June 21st, 2024, the same month that her debut album had been released in 2002. We love a full circle moment. Then she went on her Greatest Hits tour. On May 9, 2025, Avril teamed up with Simple Plan to release an iconic single called Young and Dumb. The music video has references to Avril's debut era, which I think is very cute. She and Derek Whibley reunited at When We Were Young and performed In Too Deep by Sum 41 for the 3rd time ever. They first performed it together in 2008, then again in 2024 at the Sum 41 concert in Las Vegas. At some point, around this time, I guess she released a wine called Complicated. There have been theories that she's headlining some shows at Warped Tour 2026, but that's just speculation at this point. But yeah, I kind of see why people are speculating, because if you look at the Warped Tour poster right now, a lot of bands are blacked out, and it's going alphabetically, so it's not hard to just be like, Avril's there somewhere. So I don't know, she might be at Warped Tour 2026. I guess we'll find out. But other than that, I'm sad to report that there's really nothing exciting happening in 2026 yet. Like, literally her last post on Instagram was in October 2025, but it's assumed that new music is coming at some point, maybe even a new album. But yes, if you've ever asked yourself, what is Avril Lavigne doing in 2026? Working on music. She likes to cook. She's been teasing that she's gonna make a cookbook, and it's like, girl, we don't want this, but if you're happy, okay. Once again, Avril is literally my fave, so if I said anything that sounds like I'm being a hater, I don't know. I just have opinions, but she will always be my fave. So yeah, this has officially been the deep dive on Avril Lavigne.